You called me the family's biggest mistake. Let me show you what a mistake can do. The words hang in the air like smoke before a fire. Tessa Morgan stands in the center of the grand ballroom at the plaza, champagne flute trembling slightly in her grip. Around her, 200 guests in black tie and diamonds pretend not to stare. But they're staring. They're always staring. The chandeliers overhead cast everything in that rich golden light that makes even cruelty look elegant. Crystal, marble, white roses the size of dinner plates. This is the kind of party where every surface gleams, where every smile costs something. It's her parents' 40th wedding anniversary. Harlan and Evelyn Morgan, pharmaceutical royalty, billionaires. And according to the toast her brother just gave, she doesn't belong here anymore. Marcus stands near the stage, microphone still in hand, his jaw tight with that familiar mix of pride and poison. 37. Sharp suit, sharper smile. He's always looked like their father. Same steel gray eyes. Same way of looking at people like they're numbers on a spreadsheet. He just told 300 people that Tessa burned her own inheritance. That she walked away from the family legacy to play scientist in some cramped startup lab. That she chose poverty over power. The crowd laughed. Polite, vicious laughter that sounds like breaking glass. Lila, her younger sister, stands beside Marcus now, phone in hand, recording, 29 and stunning in the way that Instagram filters can't quite capture. She leans into the microphone Marcus is holding. "You'll never be a Morgan again," she says, and her voice is honey over razor wire. Their father, Harlan, sits at the head table, 72 and imposing. He doesn't smile, doesn't frown, just watches Tessa with those dead, evaluating eyes. Her mother, Evelyn, looks away. She always looks away. Tessa feels the heat in her cheeks, the weight of every gaze in this room. She's wearing a simple black dress, no jewelry, no armor. She came here believing that maybe, just maybe, they'd changed. Stupid. Marcus starts to turn away, satisfied. The band is queuing up again. Waiters move between tables with trays of lobster and champagne. The moment is ending. She's supposed to leave now, quietly, the way they always wanted her to. Instead, Tessa raises her wrist. The movement is small, a tap on her smartwatch, a single gesture that shouldn't mean anything at all. But the massive LED screen behind the stage flickers. Everyone stops. The band cuts out mid-note. Conversations die in throats. The screen lights up with a corporate shareholding chart. Clean, professional, the kind of document that appears in boardrooms and SEC filings. Morgan Pharmaceutical Holdings. Shareholder distribution. And there, in bold letters at the top, Tessa Morgan. 60% ownership. The silence is a living thing. It crawls across the marble floor. It wraps around throats. Someone drops a fork. The sound echoes like a gunshot. Tessa takes a slow sip of champagne, lets them stare, lets them process. Marcus goes white, not pale, white, like every drop of blood just drained to his feet. "What the hell is this?" His voice cracks on the last word. Tessa finally moves, walks toward the stage. Her heels click on marble. Each step deliberate, measured. She doesn't rush. She has time. She has all the time in the world now. "You just toasted your new boss," she says. Her voice carries. Steady. Clear. Not loud, but somehow it fills every corner of this massive room. Harlan stands. His chair scrapes back. For the first time in her life, Tessa sees something in his face that isn't contempt. It's fear. "You couldn't have." He's shaking his head. "Those shares were held by offshore accounts. Anonymous buyers. We tried to track them for years." "I know," Tessa says. "I set up 63 shell companies across 9 countries. Took me 4 years. Every bonus I earned from my startup, every investment, every dollar. I bought piece by piece, anonymously, quietly." Evelyn makes a sound, something between a gasp and a sob. Marcus lunges forward. "This is fraud, corporate theft. I'll have you arrested before midnight." "With what evidence?" Tessa pulls out her phone, taps the screen. The LED display changes again. Financial documents, emails, audio files, a cascade of evidence that makes several guests near the front actually stand up and move toward the exits. "Tax fraud," Tessa says, voice clinical now, detached, dating back 12 years, offshore accounts in the Caymans, unreported income totaling $400 million. She swipes again. "Illegal drug trials, falsified safety reports, 3 medications currently on the market that failed FDA protocols, all approved anyway through bribes." Harlan's face goes purple. "You have no right." "I have every right. I'm the majority shareholder. And as of 45 minutes ago, all of this was submitted to the SEC, the FBI, and the New York Times." The room erupts. Voices, shouts, phones coming out, flashes from cameras, guests pushing toward exits, others pressing forward, trying to see the screen. Evelyn collapses back into her chair. Two waiters rush to help her. Marcus throws his champagne glass. It shatters against the wall behind Tessa, golden liquid streaking down white paint like blood. But Tessa doesn't flinch. She just stands there, center stage, backlit by the evidence of their crimes, and smiles. Not a cruel smile, not victorious. Something colder than that. Something that says she's been planning this moment for years. That every insult, every dismissal, every time they called her the mistake, she was counting, calculating, building. "Happy anniversary," she says softly. Then she turns and walks toward the exit, leaving the Morgan empire burning behind her. "They thought I was gone. I was just getting started." Tessa's voice echoes in the empty hallway as she walks away from the ballroom. But her mind is already somewhere else. Somewhere darker. 7 years ago. Maybe longer. The Morgan mansion in Greenwich. 18 rooms. 6 acres. A house so big you could get lost in it. And she did. Every single day. She was 8 years old the first time she realized she didn't belong. It was a Tuesday. She remembers because Tuesdays were when her father held court in his study. Marcus would sit on the leather chair beside him, learning numbers, learning power. Lila would be upstairs with their mother, practicing smiles in the mirror, and Tessa would be in the library, alone, reading about cells and molecules and the way bodies heal themselves. Her father found her there once, looked at the biology textbook in her lap like it was something dirty. "Morgans don't hide in books," he said. "We write the rules the world reads." But she kept reading anyway. By 16, she knew she was different in ways that couldn't be fixed. She didn't want the ball gowns her mother kept buying, didn't want the country club membership, didn't want to spend summers in the Hamptons pretending to care about people who measured worth in stock portfolios. She wanted to matter. Actually matter. Marcus was being groomed to take over the company. Private meetings with board members, business school at Wharton, a corner office waiting for him before he even graduated. He was 21 and already making decisions that affected millions of lives. Lila was their mother's masterpiece. Beautiful, charming, perfect for magazine covers and charity galas. The face of the Morgan legacy. Everything Tessa wasn't. And Tessa was just there. The shadow, the afterthought, the daughter they forgot to mention in interviews. She tried once. Really tried. She was 25, fresh out of MIT with a PhD in molecular biology. She'd spent 3 years researching treatments for rare genetic disorders, diseases that affected maybe 10,000 people worldwide. Diseases nobody else was studying because there wasn't enough profit in it. She put together a proposal, 63 pages, charts, projections, a humanitarian pharmaceutical division that could save lives while still generating modest returns. She presented it to her father in his office, the same office where Marcus learned to be ruthless. Harlan didn't even open the folder. "We don't save lives, Tessa," he said, leaning back in his chair. "We sell them." The words hung there, cold, final. "These people need help," she said. Her voice was shaking. "They're dying, and that's very sad." He picked up his phone, already moving on to the next call. "But Morgan Pharmaceutical isn't a charity. We make drugs that make money. Rich people get sick too. That's our market." Marcus was there, standing by the window. He didn't say anything, just gave her that look, that pitying, superior look that said she'd never understand how the real world worked. She left the proposal on his desk, found it in the trash the next morning. That was the day she decided. Standing in the hallway outside her father's office, hands shaking, face burning with shame and rage, she decided to leave. And more than that, she decided to win. She moved out 3 weeks later. No announcement, no drama. Just packed 2 suitcases and took the train to Brooklyn. Her apartment was 400 square feet, 5th floor walk-up, radiator that clanged all night, neighbors who fought through paper-thin walls. It cost $1,800 a month, and it was everything the mansion wasn't. It was hers. She got a job at a research lab in Manhattan, $55,000 a year, worked 16-hour days, subway at 6 in the morning, home past midnight. Lived on coffee and cold pizza and the kind of determination that feels like fire in your chest. Her family didn't call, not once. She saw them on magazine covers, Forbes, Fortune, Harlan accepting awards, Marcus closing deals, Lila at Fashion Week, glowing and gorgeous. She saw Marcus's engagement announcement, Ashley Whitmore, old money, Yale educated. The wedding would cost $2 million, the reception at the Met. Tessa ate ramen that night in her lab, alone, and cried exactly once. Then got back to work. 3 years in, She made her first breakthrough. A gene therapy technique that could treat a rare childhood disorder. Not cure, treat, but it was something. It was real. She founded Novagen Labs with 2 colleagues and a maxed-out credit card, worked out of a converted warehouse in Red Hook. No heat in winter, no air conditioning in summer. They wore coats at their desks and dreamed in equations. But it worked. God, it worked. 4 years after that, Novagen went public. Not huge, not Morgan level, but successful enough. Enough to attract investors, enough to generate real capital. And that's when she started buying. Shell companies, offshore accounts, lawyers in 9 different countries. She bought Morgan Pharmaceutical shares in tiny increments. Never enough to trigger disclosure requirements. Never enough to appear on anyone's radar. She remembers the night she hit 51%. Sitting in her apartment, laptop open, staring at the spreadsheet. Her hands were shaking. She was laughing and crying at the same time. Majority shareholder. She owned them. Every quarterly report, every signature on a stock certificate, every late night calculating, planning, building. It was all revenge written in numbers, justice disguised as investment. But it was lonely. God, it was lonely. There were nights she almost quit. Nights she saw photos of family dinners she wasn't invited to. Holidays that happened without her. Marcus's wedding. Lila's 30th birthday party at some villa in Tuscany. She wasn't there. She was never there. She was here, in Brooklyn, in the lab, in the darkness, building an empire, one cell at a time, one stock purchase at a time, one day at a time. They thought she disappeared, thought she failed, thought she was somewhere bitter and broken and defeated. They had no idea she was coming. And now, walking out of that ballroom, feeling the weight of what she's just done, Tessa finally understands something. She didn't just take their company, she took back herself. The ballroom doesn't go quiet for long. Marcus recovers first. He always does. That's what their father trained him for. Damage control, crisis management, how to win even when you're losing. He grabs the microphone from the stand, knuckles white around the metal. His voice booms across the room, cutting through the murmur of shocked guests. This is corporate sabotage, fraud. I'm calling our lawyers right now. Tessa will be in handcuffs before sunrise. Some of the guests nod. They want to believe him. They need to. Because if Marcus is lying, if Harlan is lying, then everything they've built their own fortunes on might be a lie too. Tessa stops walking, turns back. She's 20 feet from the exit. Freedom is right there. She could leave now. Let them scramble. Let them burn. But she's not done. Call them, she says. Her voice carries without shouting. I'll wait. Marcus stares at her. For a second, just a second, she sees the brother he used to be. The one who taught her to ride a bike. The one who snuck her cookies when she was grounded. Before the company swallowed him whole. Then it's gone. Replaced by that cold, corporate mask. You have no proof of anything criminal, he says. Those documents can be explained. Audited. Our legal team will tear you apart. Tessa pulls out her phone again. The LED screen behind the stage flickers. Let me save you the legal fees, she says. The screen goes black. Then video footage appears. Security camera quality. Dated 6 months ago. A conference room. Mahogany table. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. 2 men sit at the table. Harlan and Marcus. The audio crackles to life. Harlan's voice, unmistakable. The trial results came back. 3 fatalities, 2 more in critical condition. Marcus, calm as ice. Can we bury it? Already working on it. The families signed NDAs. We paid them enough to stay quiet. What about the FDA approval? We falsified the safety data. Changed the mortality rates. They'll approve it next quarter. The video continues. 30 seconds. A minute. Every word damning. Every sentence a felony. The ballroom is a tomb. No one moves. No one breathes. Someone near the back starts recording on their phone. Then another. Then a dozen. The footage spreads in real time. Uploading. Sharing. Going viral before Harlan can even stand up. And he does stand. Slams both fists on the table so hard the champagne flutes jump. Crystal shatters. Liquid spills across white linen like blood. Turn it off. His face is purple. Veins bulging at his temples. Turn it off right now. But Tessa just watches. Remote still in her hand. She doesn't even blink. Evelyn is sobbing now. Hands over her face. Shoulders shaking. Her perfect anniversary party is ash and rubble. 40 years of marriage celebrated with evidence of murder. Tessa, please. Her mother's voice breaks on the word. Please stop this. They're your family. No. Tessa's voice is ice. They stopped being my family the day they chose money over everything else. Marcus lunges toward her, gets 3 steps before hotel security moves in. 2 men in dark suits block his path. He's screaming now, actually screaming. You vindictive witch. You've destroyed everything. Everything we built. You built it on corpses, Tessa says. I'm just making sure people know. She looks at her phone. One more tap. The screen changes again. This footage is different. Not a boardroom. A hallway. Dim lighting. The marble floors and oil paintings she recognizes immediately. The mansion. Home. 2 figures pressed against the wall, kissing, hands in hair, desperate and hungry and very, very clear. Lila. Unmistakable even in shadows. That dress she wore to last year's gala. That necklace their mother gave her. And the man she's kissing isn't some random stranger. It's Ashley Whitmore, Marcus' fiancé. The timestamp reads 3 weeks ago, right before Marcus sent out the wedding invitations. The room explodes. Marcus makes a sound that isn't quite human, rage and betrayal and something animal. He turns on Lila, who's already backing away, hands up, shaking her head. It's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like? Marcus's voice cracks. I can see exactly what it looks like. Lila's crying now. Mascara running. Perfect makeup destroyed. It was a mistake. It only happened once. She came on to me. Liar! Marcus grabs a champagne bottle from the nearest table. For a second, Tessa thinks he might actually throw it. Security moves closer. Harlan is yelling. Evelyn is collapsed back in her chair, hyperventilating. Guests are fleeing now. Really fleeing. Pushing toward exits. Cameras flashing. Phones recording. This isn't just a scandal anymore. It's a spectacle. A public execution. And in the center of it all, Tessa stands perfectly still. She watches Marcus and Lila scream at each other. Watches her father try to grab the remote from her hand and fail. Watches her mother's world crumble in real time. She feels something she didn't expect. Not satisfaction. Not victory. Relief. 7 years of carrying this weight. 7 years of sleeping 3 hours a night. 7 years of building and planning and sacrificing everything for this single moment. And now it's done. She pockets her phone, straightens her dress, walks toward the exit like she's leaving a normal dinner party. Behind her, Evelyn faints for the 2nd time. Actually collapses. Waiters rush to help. Someone calls for a doctor. The press surges forward, shouting questions, cameras blinding. Tessa doesn't look back. She pushes through the gold-trimmed doors, into the hallway, past the marble columns, down the carpeted stairs. Outside, the New York night is cool and clear. Taxis rush past. The city hums with its endless, indifferent energy. And Tessa Morgan laughs. It starts as a chuckle, then something bigger, deeper, a laugh that comes from somewhere she'd forgotten existed. Pain and relief mixed together, grief and freedom. The sound of a person who's finally let go. She hails a cab, gives the driver an address in Brooklyn. As they pull away from the plaza, she looks back once, just once. The building glows gold in the darkness, beautiful and hollow, just like everything inside it. Oh, it's true, she whispers to her reflection in the window. Just like everything else in this family. Then she closes her eyes and goes home. Blood doesn't make you family. Choices do. The headline appears on every screen in America by morning. New York Times, Wall Street Journal, CNN runs it every hour. Biotech heiress destroys her own family empire. The video from the anniversary party has 17 million views. Clips of Marcus screaming. Harlan's confession about the drug trials. Lila and Ashley kissing in that hallway. It's everywhere. Unavoidable. Tessa watches it all from her apartment in Brooklyn. Coffee growing cold in her hand. Dawn light filtering through cheap blinds. She thought she'd feel something. Victory. Relief. Satisfaction. Instead, she feels hollow. Her phone has been ringing for 12 hours straight. Reporters. Lawyers. People from her past crawling out of nowhere. She ignores them all. Except one. A text from her mother. 4 words. Please. We need to talk. The Hamptons house sits on 3 acres of pristine coastline. Tessa hasn't been here in 8 years. She forgot how beautiful it is. How cold. She parks in the circular driveway. The fountain is still running. Marble cherubs pouring water that never stops. Everything here is permanent. Unchanging. Frozen in money. Evelyn opens the door before Tessa can knock. She looks 20 years older than she did 2 days ago. No makeup. Hair undone. A silk robe instead of the designer clothes she usually wears like armor. Thank you for coming, she says. Her voice is raw, like she's been crying for hours. They sit in the sunroom, white furniture, ocean view. The kind of room designed for happiness. It feels like a funeral home. The press is destroying us, Evelyn says. She's not looking at Tessa, just staring out at the waves. Marcus's engagement is off. Ashley's family is suing. Lila won't answer my calls. Good, Tessa says. The word comes out harder than she means it to. Evelyn flinches, finally turns to look at her daughter. You've won. You've destroyed everything we built. Are you happy now? I destroyed what you stole, Tessa says. There's a difference. We're still your family. Are we? The question hangs there, heavy, loaded. Tessa doesn't even know why she asked it, but now that it's out, she can't take it back. Evelyn's hands start shaking. She sets down her teacup. It rattles against the saucer. There's something you need to know, she says. Something I should have told you years ago. Tessa waits, every muscle in her body tense. You're not Harlan's daughter. The words are quiet, simple. They shouldn't have the power to break the world. But they do. Tessa feels the floor shift beneath her. Or maybe it's her. Maybe she's the one shifting, becoming someone else. Someone she never was. What? You're mine. Evelyn is crying now. Real tears. Not the elegant kind she uses at galas. But you were never his. You were someone else's hope. Someone I loved before I became Mrs. Harlan Morgan. Tessa can't breathe. The room is spinning. 33 years. 33 years of wondering why she never fit. Why Harlan looked at her like she was a mistake. Why Marcus and Lila got everything and she got nothing. He knew? Her voice doesn't sound like hers. Harlan knew? From the beginning. Evelyn's face crumples. I told him before you were born. He married me anyway. For appearances. For the merger with my father's company. But he never forgave me. And he never forgot. Every memory shifts. Recolors. All those years of cold dinners and colder silence. The way Harlan would introduce Marcus as his son and Lila as his daughter. But Tessa was always just Tessa. Never his. That's why he hated me. It's not a question. It's understanding. Finally, he didn't hate you. He hated what you represented. His wife's betrayal. His own pride. He couldn't admit it publicly. So he punished you privately. Tessa stands. Walks to the window. The ocean is gray today. Angry. Matching something inside her chest. Who was my father? My real one? A doctor. A good man. He died before you were born. Car accident. Evelyn's voice breaks completely. You have his eyes. His mind. His heart. Tessa presses her forehead against the glass. It's cool. Solid. Real. Everything else feels like smoke. She's not a Morgan. Never was. All those years of trying to earn a place in a family that was never hers. All those years of feeling like she didn't belong. She was right. I'm sorry. Evelyn is standing now too, reaching out. I'm so sorry, Tessa. I was young and scared and I made choices that hurt you. But I loved you. I always loved you. Did you? Tessa turns. Her cheeks are wet. She didn't realize she was crying. Because you let him treat me like garbage for 33 years. You stood there and watched him destroy me piece by piece. That's not love, Mom. That's cowardice. Evelyn has no answer. Just more tears. Tessa walks past her. Toward the door. Toward air. Toward anything that isn't this house full of lies. What are you going to do? Evelyn calls after her. Tessa stops at the doorway. Doesn't turn around. I'm going to finish what I started. The call to her lawyer takes 15 minutes. Sell everything. All 60%. Dump it on the market. Whatever it takes. She doesn't care about the money. Never did. She wants the company gone. Erased. As if it never existed. Within 24 hours, Morgan Pharmaceutical stock crashes. Trading halted. Emergency board meetings. Panic. Within 48 hours, the FBI raids the headquarters. Agents in windbreakers carrying boxes of evidence. Harlan is arrested at his club. Marcus at his penthouse. Both in handcuffs. Both on every news channel in America. Tessa watches it happen from a coffee shop in Brooklyn. Anonymous, invisible, free. Lila flees to Miami. Burns through her trust fund in 3 months. Last Tessa heard, she's selling her designer clothes on Instagram. Living in a studio apartment. Learning what the real world costs. 2 weeks later, Tessa stands outside Morgan Pharmaceutical headquarters one last time. The building is dark, empty, for sale signs already going up. Workers stream out carrying boxes. 20 years of employment ended in an afternoon. Some of them see her, recognize her. A few nod. Most just look away. She watches as maintenance workers remove the Morgan logo from above the doors. 30 feet of steel and glass. The family name in letters you could see from 3 blocks away. It falls, crashes, shatters on the sidewalk. Tessa doesn't cheer, doesn't celebrate. just stands there feeling something break inside her chest, something that needed to break. Blood doesn't make you family, she whispers. Choices do. Then she turns her back on the wreckage and walks toward the rest of her life. They built an empire on lies. I built mine on truth. 2 years later, and Tessa Morgan barely recognizes the woman she used to be. She stands in her office on the 23rd floor of a Manhattan high-rise. Not as grand as Morgan Pharmaceutical headquarters. Not as cold either. The walls are covered in photos. Women, children, families that found each other after being broken. This is Aurora Biotech Foundation. Her foundation, built from the ashes of what she destroyed. The morning sun streams through floor-to-ceiling windows. Coffee steams in her hand. The city sprawls below, alive and moving and full of people fighting their own battles. Behind her, a small voice breaks the silence. Tessa, can I come in? She turns. Hope stands in the doorway. 6 years old, dark curls, eyes that have seen too much for someone so small. She's wearing the purple dress they picked out together last week. Her favorite. Always, Tessa says. You know that. Hope walks in slowly, still learning that this place is safe, that these rooms don't have hidden cameras or locked doors or secrets that hurt. She's been with Tessa for 8 months now. 8 months since the adoption papers were signed. 8 months since Tessa became something she never thought she'd be. A mother. Hope climbs into the chair across from Tessa's desk. Her feet don't touch the floor. She swings them back and forth. A rhythm Tessa has learned means she's thinking hard about something. My friend at school asked me about my real family, Hope says finally. Her voice is small, careful, like she's testing the words. Tessa sets down her coffee, comes around the desk, kneels so they're eye level. What did you tell her? I said I don't have one. Hope's eyes fill with tears. I said my parents gave me away because they didn't want me. The words hit Tessa in the chest. She knows that feeling. Knows it so well it still takes her breath away sometimes. Can I tell you something? Tessa takes Hope's small hands in hers. Something true? Hope nods. Your parents made a choice. A bad one. A choice that hurt you. But that choice doesn't define who you are. It defines who they are. But everyone else has a real family. Do I have a real family now? Hope asks. The question trembles in the air between them. Tessa thinks about the Morgans. About blood and names and legacies built on lies. About the years she spent trying to earn love from people who were never going to give it. She thinks about Harlan in prison. Marcus awaiting trial. Lila somewhere in Florida, broke and forgotten. Evelyn in that big empty house in the Hamptons, alone with her choices. She thinks about the women in the foundation. Single mothers rebuilding, daughters escaping abuse, sisters supporting sisters, families made from courage instead of genetics. You have something better, Tessa says. She's smiling now, really smiling. You have a future. Hope's face transforms. That careful, scared look melts away. She throws her arms around Tessa's neck, holds on tight. I love you, she whispers. I love you too, sweetheart. They stay like that for a long moment. Two people who were told they weren't enough, holding on to proof that they are. Eventually, Hope pulls back, wipes her eyes. Can we get pancakes for breakfast? Absolutely. Go get your coat. Hope runs out, all energy and light, the heaviness gone. Tessa watches her go and feels something settle in her chest. Peace. Actual peace. She turns back to the window. The TV in the corner is on, muted. Morning news. She's about to turn it off when a headline catches her eye. Morgan Pharmaceutical declares bankruptcy. She unmutes it. The anchor's voice fills the room. In a stunning fall from grace, Morgan Pharmaceutical Corporation has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Once valued at $12 billion, the company has been hemorrhaging money since founder Harlan Morgan and his son Marcus were arrested 2 years ago on charges of fraud, tax evasion, and illegal drug testing. Stock footage plays, the empty headquarters, the fallen logo, Harlan in handcuffs. The Morgan family empire, which dominated the pharmaceutical industry for 3 generations, is now effectively dissolved. Assets will be liquidated to pay victims' families and outstanding debts. Tessa sips her coffee, watches the footage without emotion. It doesn't hurt anymore, doesn't satisfy either, it just is. The anchor continues. In related news, the Aurora Biotech Foundation, founded by former Morgan heir Tessa Morgan, has just received a $100 million grant to expand its humanitarian pharmaceutical research. The foundation provides free medical care and drug development for rare diseases affecting underserved communities. The screen shows photos of Aurora, the lab, the clinic, women and children smiling. Hope isn't in the photos. Tessa keeps her private, protected, away from cameras and questions. Morgan, who famously exposed her own family's corruption, declined to comment. Her foundation continues to operate across 15 states and has helped over 10,000 patients who couldn't afford treatment. Tessa turns off the TV. The silence feels good, clean. Her phone buzzes. A text from Dr. Sarah Chen, her partner at the foundation. Trial results are in. The gene therapy worked. We're saving lives, Tessa. She reads it twice. Lets the words sink in. This is what she wanted. This is what she left the Morgan name for. Real work, real impact, medicine that heals instead of profits. Hope appears in the doorway again, coat on, backpack ready. Can we walk to the diner? It's nice outside. Yeah. Let's walk. They leave the office together, take the elevator down, step out into Manhattan morning. The city rushes around them, cars honking, people hurrying, a million lives intersecting. Hope slips her hand into Tessa's. They walk down the sidewalk, just another mother and daughter in a city full of stories. No one recognizes her. No one stares. She's not a Morgan anymore. Not an heiress. Not a headline. She's just Tessa. And that's enough. At the diner, Hope orders chocolate chip pancakes. Tessa gets coffee. Black. Always black. What are we doing today? Hope asks, syrup on her chin. Whatever you want. Can we go to the park? Feed the ducks? Absolutely. Hope grins, goes back to her pancakes. Talks about school and friends and a book she's reading. Normal things. Beautiful things. Tessa listens. Really listens. This is her empire now. Not buildings or stock prices or family names. This, right here, a little girl who knows she's loved. A foundation that saves lives. A future built on truth instead of lies. They built an empire on poison and called it power. She built hers on grace and called it home. And in the end, that's the only victory that matters. If you've ever felt like you don't belong, like your family made you small, remember this. You are not defined by the people who couldn't see your worth. You are defined by what you build when you finally walk away. Build something beautiful. Build something true. And never ever let anyone tell you that you're not enough. Because you are. You always were.